Johnson's Dictionary. For the century before Johnson's Dictionary was published in 1775, there had been concern about the state of the English language. There was no standard way of speaking or writing, or no agreement as to best way of bringing some order to the choice of English spelling. Dr. Johnson provided the solution. There had, of course, been dictionaries in the past, the first of these being a little book of some 120 pages, compiled by a certain Robert Cowdray, published in 1604 under the title A Table Alphabetical of Hard Usual English Words. Like the various dictionaries that came after it during the 17th century, Cowdray tended to concentrate on scholarly words. One function of the dictionary was to enable its student to convey an impression of fine learning. Beyond the practical need to make order out of chores, the rise of dictionaries is associated with the rise of the English middle class, who were anxious to define and circumscribe the various words to conquer lexical as well as social and commercial. It is highly appropriate that Dr. Samuel Johnson, the very model of an 18th century literary man, as famous in his own time as in ours, should have published his dictionary at the very beginning of the heyday of the middle class. Johnson was a poet and critic who raised common sense to the heights of genius. His approach to the problems that had worried writers throughout the late 17th and early 18th centuries was intensely practical up until his time. The task had seemed impossible without the establishment of an academy to make decisions about right and wrong usage. Johnson decided he did not need an academy to settle arguments about language. He would write a dictionary himself, and he would do it single-handed. Johnson signed the contract for the dictionary with the bookseller Robert Dodsley at a breakfast held at the Golden Anchor Inn near Holborn Bar in 18 June 1764. He was to be paid £1,575 in instalments, and from this he took money to rent 17 Gough Square, in which he set up his dictionary workshop. James Boswell, his biographer, described the garret where Johnson worked as fitted up like a counting house, with a long desk running down the middle at which the copying clerks would work standing up. Johnson himself was stationed on a rickety chair at an old crazy deal table, surrounded by a choice of borrowed books. He was also helped by 6 assistants, 2 of whom died whilst the dictionary was still in preparation. The work was immense, filling about 80 large notebooks, and without a library to hand, Johnson wrote the definitions of over 40,000 words and illustrated their many meanings with some 14,000 quotations drawn from English writing on every subject from the Elizabethans to his own time. He did not expect to achieve complete originality. working to a deadline, he had to draw on the best of all previous dictionaries and to make his work one of heroic synthesis. In fact, it was very much more. Unlike his predecessors, Johnson treated English very practically as a living language with many different shades of meaning. He adopted his definitions on the principle of English common law according to precedent. After its publication, his dictionary was not seriously revealed for over a century. After many vicissitudes, the dictionary was finally published on 15 April 1775. It was instantly recognized as a landmark throughout Europe. This very noble work, wrote the leading Italian lexicographer, will be a perpetual monument of fame to the author and honor to his own country in particular, and a general benefit to the Republic of Letters throughout Europe. The fact that Johnson had taken on the academies of Europe and matched them, everyone knew that 40 French academics had taken 40 years to produce the first French national dictionary was cause for much English celebration. Johnson had worked for 9 years with little assistance of the learned and without any patronage of the great, not in the soft obscurities of retirement or under the shelter of academic bowers, but amidst inconvenience and distraction, in sickness and in sorrow, for all its faults and eccentricities. His 2-volume work is a masterpiece and a landmark in his own words, setting the orthography and displaying the analogy, regulating the structures and ascertaining the significations of English words. It is the cornerstone of standard English, an achievement which, in James Boswell's words, conferred stability on the language of his country. The dictionary, together with his other writing, made Johnson famous and so well esteemed that his friends were able to prevail upon King George III to offer him a pension. From then on, he was to become the Johnson of folklore. Question 1 to 3. Choose 3 letters A to H. Write answers in boxes 1 to 3 on your answer sheet, and your answers may be given in any order. Which 3 of the following statements are true of Johnson's dictionary? A. It avoided all scholarly words. It was the only English dictionary in general use for 200 years. It was famous because of the large number of people involved. It focused mainly on language from contemporary text. There was a time limit for its completion. It ignored work done by previous dictionary writers. It took into account subtleness of meaning. Its definitions were famous for their originality. Question 4 to 7. Complete the summary. Choose no more than 2 words from the passage for each answer. Write your answer in boxes in 4 to 7 on your answer sheet. In 1764, Dr. Johnson expected the contract to produce a dictionary. Having rented a garret, he took on a number of who stood at a long central desk. Johnson did not have something here available to him, but eventually produced definitions of in excess of 40,000 words written down in 80 large notebooks. On publication, the dictionary was immediately hailed in many European countries as a landmark. According to his biographer James Boswell, Johnson's principal achievement was to bring something here to the English language. As a reward for his hard work, he was granted a dash by the king. Question 8 to 13. Do the following statements agree with the information given in reading passage? In boxes 8 to 13 on your answer sheet, write true if the statement agrees with the information, false if the statement contradicts the information not given. If there is no information on this, the growing importance of the middle classes lead to an increased demand for dictionaries. Johnson has become more well known since his death. Johnson had been planning to write a dictionary for several years. Johnson set up an academy to help with the writing of his dictionary. Johnson only received payment for his dictionary on its completion. Not all of the assistants survived to see the publication of the dictionary. Answer is here. So guys, thank you for watching.